Ever since I said I do, there's a lot you don't. I just bought a car from a guy that stole my girl, but the car don't run, so I figure we're even. Okay, see, it's bad. We're moving into the paired speeches part of the program. Our first speaker lives on a fruit farm with a high school sweetheart. This could be words right out of a country song. And she's never been happier in her life. She's giving her Icebreaker speech entitled, My Age in Years. Please welcome Kate Daniels to the lectern.
It's getting harder and harder for me to remember how old I am. When I was 18, I never used to forget that I was 18. When I was 25, I always remembered that I was 25. Now that I'm 34, sometimes I literally have to do the math to remember my age. I don't know if it's actually a difficulty remembering how old I am, or if my life changed so much when I turned 30 that it's actually my age has become irrelevant. Age certainly wasn't irrelevant in my teens and 20s. I literally felt the passage of time like peeling a layer of skin off each year. I know it kind of sounds like my life wasn't so great when I was growing up, but it actually wasn't all that bad. But I wasn't really a happy kid. I grew up here, which was wonderful, living in Monterey, the beautiful ocean, the mountains, living on this coast. But when I was 17, things really changed. My sister decided to go to New York for college. Boulder, Colorado was probably much more my speed, but the Big Apple, I was curious. And if it was really everything they said it would be, I didn't want to miss out. I don't mean to sound ungrateful. I mean, what an opportunity, right, to go away to school in New York City. But my sister and I, we really went to New York City and didn't come back. And New York, it changed us. When we got there, I remember my sister, she'd worked at Banana Republic that summer, and she bought us both a whole new outfit to wear in New York City, only to find out that denim and safari in 1991 really was not in. We stood out pretty bad. But, you know, we really tried our best. We bought idiot boots and put some extra holes in our ear, and really quickly realized that life as we knew it had changed. But there was no turning back to the way that life was here. When you're 17 and you're from California, just walking down the street in New York, and your world, it changes. I remember the first time I saw who I assumed was a prostitute and her pimp, and he was beating her up on the street. And my friend pushed me along toward our destination, leaving hers to be determined by this crazy man with blood in his eyes. And I remember another time seeing this pregnant woman on the street, and she was so strung out on heroin that she could barely keep her head up. And then I remember this barber that I had in the Bronx telling me with tears in his eyes that his daughter, who was my age, was HIV positive. And another thing that really stuck with me that I'll never forget was being in Times Square at a bus stop, watching an African-American man hailing a cab that never came. And all this, it was just first quarter. My time in New York, it's not as bad as it sounds, but it was really an eye-opening experience. But there were some really good things. New York's where I learned how to dance salsa. New York is where I got to eat West African and Indian and Cuban food for the first time. It's where I really got my strength and learned how to take care of myself. I started writing and I got my first job. It was also the place where I discovered that there was something missing in my life that was so fundamental that until I found it, I would really never be fulfilled. So with this gaping hole somewhere in my midsection, I kind of became a wanderer. I wandered through New York, I wandered through San Francisco, I wandered through Los Angeles, I wandered along the beaches of Playa del Carmen, Mexico, and along the lake shores of Granada, Nicaragua. I wandered into the eyes of all my loved ones and the people I cared about, and I just really never knew how I was supposed to feel, or to act, or to relate. The biggest thing that's changed in my life since that time is my vision. And I don't mean my eyesight, but that clarity of purpose that I had always wanted, but I never had. You see, up until that time in 2005, I was a school teacher. It was the job I had from high school. It was just my natural fit. I always was in the classroom, but I could never really see my future in the classroom. So one day, when I turned 30, I just walked out. Of course, I did it right, and I talked to the appropriate people and let them know that I wouldn't be needing a contract that next fall. But I had no plan. I simply left the career that I'd always had up until that point. In 5 minutes, it would be difficult to relay all the changes that have occurred in my life since that time. But to simplify it in one succinct sentence, I came home. I came home to my family, I came home to my husband, I came home to this beautiful stretch of coast that I grew up in. And most importantly, I came home to me, someone that I had left on a football field at Carmel High School in a red graduation cap and gown many, many years before. Wandering through life without her, I had become lost. Every day I was always moving. I was moving through jobs, through relationships, through pages and pages of this book that I didn't particularly like. And it was only when I walked out of that job that I actually walked into me. There I was on that football field, still waiting for that cap to fall back down from the sky. And it was when those hopes and dreams and all my experiences became one that together our vision became clear. Thank you, Madam Postmaster.